Am I saying read or ate? We'll see. Hello everybody, my name is Vero, this is Vero Reads. So it's past the halfway mark of the year, and I just wanted to check in with you on how my reading year is going and how far along I am with my reading goals. It's a mixed bag in terms of success, but it's 100% success in terms of reading enjoyment. I am really enjoying how much I've been reading, how like the type of reading that I've been doing. I'm just having loads of fun. so far I'm having so much fun. But I'll give you some statistics of all the categories, all the stats, all the tracking things. I want to start with some reading habits. So by now, in the first half of the year, I've read a lot more compared to previous years. Usually for whatever reason, maybe it's burnout after the winter time, which is a really busy time usually for my work. Usually I start the year reading very little, as in not finishing a book per month type of very little. But this year, for whatever reason, I started I started the same way I finished the year. So I kept momentum throughout, and that meant that I didn't have like 4 months where I read one book in those 4 months, and it felt like I was enjoying, I was doing this really nice hobby that I have. I feel like booktube is the thing that kind of went off the rails, but in terms of reading, I kept up pace and momentum and also the enjoyment of it. Also, I've been reading a lot of good books. My most frequent rating is 5 stars. I have 16 5-star reads so far in the first 6 months. That is also because I'm really not shy about DNFing. I have DNF'd 11 books so far in the year. And yes, I'm a mood reader, so I tend to read only stuff that I'm in the mood for and that I think I will enjoy. So it's not super surprising that I have so many 5-star reads, but it's a pleasant data to have. Let me know in the comments if you would like a video where I just go over my 5-star reads and tell you why they were 5 stars and how I found them, and I go a bit more into detail with them. Some statistics from Storygraph. I can see that I can see that 81% of my books were 300 pages or shorter. On brand, very on brand for me. 78% was fiction and 22% was non-fiction. This is a little bit surprising because I really don't tend to read a lot of non-fiction, but I've been getting into it lately from an informative standpoint. I'm currently reading a non-fiction book called Monstrous Anger of the Guns, which I highly recommend, and it talks about the industrial military complex globally and how it's so fucked up basically. But I highly recommend it. But yeah, I've been reading to learn on top of reading to enjoy, so that's why my non-fiction stats is a bit higher than usual. I'm not super sure in terms of the format. Like, I will put the Storygraph thingy on, but it's not super accurate because some books I read digitally, but Storygraph didn't have the digital format. Or sometimes I do some immersive reading where I read physically and I listen to the audiobook, and maybe I put it as physical when it's 50-50 with the audiobook. But the majority of the books I read are physical or digital, because I read some classics that are out of print and you can find them only on the Gutenberg Project or something. but mainly physical, from my physical TBR or from the library. I've been listening to audiobooks, but it's usually as immersive reading, not as their own. It's just a couple that I can think of the top of my head that I've listened to. I also have some stats that are not provided by Storygraph. I keep track of them. So 50% of the books I read are from my library. Yes. I thought it was gonna be more, but I think last month I only read physical, like books from my physical TBR. So fair enough, that is a bit less. But I'm happy that at the halfway point it is 50%. Then currently my digital TBR has 145 books on it, which is a lot. It's a bit more than I'd like, but it's not 150. That's my max. Like, I've really been trying to keep it under 150, so to me that's somewhat of a success. I do have a whole bingo. So I have been reading books about it. This is my virtual TBR bingo. I can take off books. I can cross off boxes on this bingo only if with books from my digital TBR. So, you know, I have been reading a bit, but there's still room for improvement. It's really been helping, this bingo, I feel like. First of all, I love it. I just love the colors. I love how I made it. And second of all, it's really like sometimes I read because I wanna check off a bingo. I've already made like crossed off a line here, and I'm really close here as well. I just need a most anticipated book, which is really hard because I don't know what I'm most anticipating. But yeah, and then also here as well, and I just need to read the most procrastinated book, which is really, it's procrastinated. It's 400 pages. It's Irish folk and fairy tales by W.B. Yeats or Yeats. I don't never remember. And you know, that's not something that I pick up just randomly. But one day. So yeah, it's going well. For considering it's just the halfway mark. I'm happy with the progress so far, so I don't have to rush that much at the end of the year. I can start focusing on it, you know, in September and be like, oh damn, I need to get a move on. So yeah, at least that's, the bingo is helping, but I do want to work on my digital TBR a bit more. I still have 7 books on my currently reading pile, which is not ideal because again, that's not the, I'm just dipping in and out of 7 books. Those are my long-term, I am currently reading them books. I have a video on my channel from last year where I talk about this struggle that I have, that sometimes I just drop a book, I don't DNF it, I know I will read it one day, but it stays on my currently reading pile for years. I did finish a couple of those long-term currently reading books, but then I added some. So I will talk about them in another video soon. I will give an update on that, but yeah, 7 books on my long-term currently reading pile. In terms of my actual I'm reading them now pile, I have 1, 2, 3 books that I am actively reading at the moment. So, you know, there's a difference between ones that I will read one day and ones that I am actively reading. I think this is all the statistics that I wanted to talk about, but let me know if there's some stat that I've missed, something that you're curious about. I love graphs, as you can see. I love Excel spreadsheets. So if there's any data that you want to know, I'm happy to share. Now, in terms of the goals that I set myself at the beginning of the year, mixed bag. A bit of a mixed bag. So goal number 1 that I put myself was to read at least one book by 4 authors: Ursula K. Le Guin, James Baldwin, Olga Tokarczuk, and Octavia Butler. I only read one book by Ursula K. Le Guin, and that's it. My issue with that is all their books sound so good that I don't know what to, I don't know what to read. I don't know what to choose. So my plan, because I need to get a move on, because we're at the halfway mark and I've only read one book, and ideally I would read more than one book by each, but I will just stop myself at one if it's starting to get too overwhelming. So my plan to check off this goal by the end of the year is to just choose one book each and buy it. So I have it, it's there, because if I'm not in the mood to read them, I'm not gonna read them. But it's less likely that I'm gonna be in the mood if I don't see them. I thought that just having at the back of my head, oh, I want to read one of their books, would have made me go and get them from the library or decide to read them. But no, I think I have to have them either in my digital TBR, but I don't really want to add to that, or just buy them and have them. Let me know if you have any recommendations of books that I should check out by these authors. So far, I only read Dry Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk, and I read the first Earthsea book and The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin, and I've read Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. So everything else, if you're really a big fan of Octavia Butler and you wanna tell me, read this one, please let me know. Because it's just decision fatigue. I just don't know where to start, and so I'm not starting. But if you just say, go that, do that, buy that, I will. And so I will finally read them. So that's the first goal. Not doing great, but The second goal was the publishers. But to be fair, that's a long-term, lifelong goal. So I wanted to read some books by a few publishers. In particular, the Persephone books and Fitzcarraldo books. I have not read any, I think, this year. Yes, I haven't. So that's not great. I do have some. In all fairness, I do have some books by them. It just didn't happen. And to be fair, you know what? I'm going to give myself some leeway. That's not a priority goal. That's just the start of a long life journey, a lifelong journey. So it's fine that I haven't, but I'm taking this opportunity to remind myself that it's something that I want to do. And also I'm taking this opportunity to say that I might want to add the New York Review of Books publisher on that list, because a lot of the books that I want to read, they've published, like some books by Sylvia Townsend Warner, or I have a lot of books on my digital TBR that are from the New York Review of Books. So I will just add it there. I might do, this is my reading journal, I might do a spreadsheet or some sort of thing where I just write down all of the books that I'm interested in by these publishers. So I just have a list that I can cross off. I don't know. That sounds like a lot of effort, but we'll see. Then goal number 3. Goal number 3 was read at least one poetry book, one graphic novel, and one play. Cross that off. I've added personally also short story collections because I'm getting really into them. I really like them. And that's going great. That's going so great. So far, I've read 5 graphic novels. I've read, listen to this, 8 poetry collections, which I'm so happy with that. 1 play and 3 short stories collections. Big shout out to Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe, because I always watch her TBR videos or wrap-up videos, and she reads a lot of great poetry, and all of the poetry, bar a couple that I've read this year, was because she was talking about it and they sounded amazing. So big shout out, because she has great taste in poetry, and it's making me really really interested in reading more poetry. This is goal 3, so again, great. I want to read a couple more plays. I have a couple plays on my TBR that I want to read, but everything else, impeccable. Goal number 4 was reading more global majority authors, and I'm doing good. I have my 79% of my reading so far has been by a global majority author. I was hoping to go over 80%, and I think I was in May. I was at 84%, but then I read a bunch of white authors, so never mind. But I'm happy. I'm happy that, again, halfway mark, we're at 79%. I do want to push a bit further, because my reading year is so awesome, and I do think it's because I've started to pay more attention about reading not just the same, authors that everybody recommends me. Training my algorithms has been really good. Now my algorithms are impeccable, especially on TikTok, and I get so many great recommendations of books that when I go into Waterstones, I don't see on the table. So I'm really happy that the algorithm lords are on my side. But they're on my side because I put effort into, like once you get there, it's awesome. Getting there, you need to put some effort, just a bit of effort. Just go follow 4 content creators that are not white and that you think are doing great. And then, algorithm will algorithm. But anyway, rant over. I keep ranting. Why do I keep ranting whenever I talk about my goals? Anyway, so yeah, 2 out of 4 goals are doing good. That's fine. I want to work on the authors one because, there's a reason why I put it there. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm just getting overwhelmed by all the possibilities, all the coolness that I know I will experience once I read these books. But that will be fine. I think that's it for this update. Let me know if there's anything that you want to know about my goals, but more importantly, let me know how your goals are doing, or just in general your reading year. I am so happy because truly I'm having so much fun reading. I'm literally having so much fun reading. The only sad part is when I don't have time to read, and I'm so grumpy about that because I also know that going like the second half of the year will be the busiest one. So I'm already mourning the time that I won't be able to read. But, let's look at the present and enjoy the time we have. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time in another video. Bye bye!